What's going on? How's everybody doing today? We're in the greenhouse and the battle continues. So you guys probably saw my video a couple of weeks ago about when I used those mosquito dunks with the Bacillus thuringiensis bacteria in it, and I watered all my plants to kill those damn fungus gnats I was fighting because there was just thousands upon thousands of them in here. So obviously you're never going to get them all, right? So what I've done is I've hung up more yellow sticky traps around, and they're seeming to take care of some of the adult flies flying around higher up. But there's a lot that kind of hang around the top soil portion of all the pots, and I don't have a lot of sticky traps in there. I removed them because they were just loaded. So I got to reload them. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it again, but I'm going a little bit of a different route this time. What I did last time is I got a big tote. I filled it up with like 60 liters of water. I put one of those mosquito dunks in. I broke it up into chunks and I let it sit for about a day. And then I watered the garden. I filled it back up because there was some of the dunk left. And then I watered the garden. It was essentially used all up, right? Because little bits and pieces ended up in all of the pots. But you can actually leave those mosquito dunks just sitting in water, and it'll just perpetually just release more and more of that bacteria into the water, which you can then just use to water your plants. So what I'm going to do now is behind me here, I'll show you in a second. I've got a big blue tote. I've got it full of water. I've got a mosquito dunk in it, just kind of floating around like a big brown donut, because they look like a big brown donut. And then I've got two smaller chunks that I had left in my little watering can here. So I threw those in there, and they're pretty much just broken down into like a sawdust type material floating in the water. So what I'm going to do moving forward is I'm not going to break up that large mosquito dunk. I'm just going to water the garden with the water that's in there, and then once I do that, I'm just going to top that water back up and then water and top it back up until that mosquito dunk's gone. And I'm hoping through repeated applications of this, it's going to keep the fungus gnat population at a relatively manageable level. They were, I would say, probably 85% gone after that massive application last time. But like I said, you're never going to get all the numbers, and each fly lays 200 to 300 eggs in your soil. So I got a little curious, and when my soil was wet, I've let about the top inch of my pots dry out right now, and you'll see when I show you, like the Swiss chard isn't too happy, and some of the tomato leaves are a little limp and curly. I'll water them; they'll come back. That's not such a big deal, but the larvae generally live in about the top plus or minus inch of your soil. So I got poking around in there and I found those larvae, and they are everywhere. They're like less than a quarter-inch long. They're about as thin as a piece of what would you call it? Like not string, like floss, like dental floss almost, maybe a little thinner. And they're sort of like a pink color, and they were all in the top of my soil. So, and I knew they were eventually going to come back. I was hoping I could keep the numbers down for a little longer. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be, but I need to keep on top of this because obviously this is going to be a problem that I'm going to have to deal with all the way through this whole season. So that's why I figured we're just going to we're just going to have this. Oh yeah, you can see it there. There's the tote. Okay, so I'm just going to keep that dunk in the tote, and I'm just going to keep watering the plants. So here's the tote I was telling you about, and there's that mosquito dunk. It's completely non-toxic to humans. That's what it looks like, see? Almost like little bits of compressed cork or compressed sawdust. Okay, and so that's just going to float around in the water, and it's just going to slowly break down. So all I'm going to do is I'm literally just taking my watering can. Gonna give this a stir. And I'm just gonna go around and I'm gonna water everything. Get out of there. All right, we're gonna give it a good soak. Everything's getting drowned. Cover the whole top of the pot because I don't want to miss any. So I'm hoping that I've reduced the numbers of the larvae by drying out that top layer of soil. So everything's going to get a good water, guys. As you can see, we're getting pretty full in here. Right, all those peppers back there all have flowers on them. The basil's doing great after I cut all the tops off. I showed you guys how if you cut the tops off your basil, they'll just sprout out and you won't have any flowers. And see my poor Swiss chard down here at the bottom? It's looking a little haggard. Got all the onions going. So I'm just going to go through and everything that has soil in it, including my sprouts, they're all going to get watered. So the battle continues, guys. All right, have a good one. See ya.